little snail from
Uh,
Stellaris.
this is how these skittermanders look while they're young.
Oh, it's adorable.
That's fucking
Chestburster.
Oh my god.
It is worth noting that the skittermander is the little thing living inside the Care Bear creature.
No, that's just a
which
second
itself
mouth.
is in horrible pain, paralyzed permanently. You're like, oh.
Inside
That's
the
just a-
Care Bear
That's
creature.
just a second mouth.
Don't worry about the second mouth.
Yeah.
Like, if we saw that in a dungeon, though, you'd kick it, you know? It's like, get away from me.
You'd see that and be like, oh god!
You might not kill it, but you definitely kick it.
We gotta remove that parasite. Like, oh,
Yeah.
no, it's
Oh
just-
god, I'm so sorry.
okay.
You're infested with worms. That
It has
burrow
4
out your skin.
nostrils.
It does, yeah.
It breathes so clearly. Its sinuses are.
How does
miracle
it scratch its
machines.
back, though? I mean, look at those tiny arms. And it has fur.
It has a
so-
stick.
think-
It has a stick
You-
that rubs against its
Trees.
back.
Yeah, it has that technology.
Yep.
Do like a Baloo from the Jungle Book.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder what planet they come from. Where would biology create something like this?
They
Like
come
I
from,
suggest a very dark place.
Very dark.
They come from Vesk Free.
Oh.
We conquered them. They
Yeah.
are vassals of the Vesk.
It's not hard.
They're
Look at
foreign
them.
children of the Vesk. Have these little guys marching strong. There's no
They're
wonder we won. I mean, look at them.
They're basically Ewoks, let's be fair.
I mean, imagine that they come. Oh, hello, our brothers of our solar system. We have come to share with you our glory of trade. And then the Vesks are just bull rushes the guy, smashing him against the wall or something.
Yeah.
It's like they come and they land on their ship, and then
Yeah.
next time the little gremlin men see that ship, it's with a bunch of Vesk on it. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
our kindred spirits are back! Yay!" And it
Uh,
lands.
Vesk
and
has
it's just a bunch of
conquered, like
fucking
planting a
wizards.
flag and just like fucking smashing everything.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! Our house is made of fluff. No.
Yes, conquest.
Just to quickly read an excerpt about the skittermanders. When Vesk warships appeared in the sky, skittermanders across Vesk Free were more than happy to get out of the invaders' way. Not out of fear, but more because of their innate desire to help. Skittermanders instinctively recognized the Veskarium's superior strength and felt they could best aid the Empire by simply not being in the same location as its soldiers. In this way, skittermanders believed the Vesk could quickly achieve their goals and move on. They didn't understand the Vesk's aim was to subdue their world. Since Vesk's code of honor forbade them from shooting the cheerfully acquiescent skittermanders in the back, the invaders were confused and infuriated by the situation.
We've seen their military compound. Go down. Drop pods, and then I guess they need something here. Let's just. I mean,
Oh,
let's
we
just go
over here.
down and fish something.
Yeah, we'll be over here. Oh, just don't mind us. We'll
Oh,
if you need anything,
the
just call.
government building? Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just,
If you're hungry, there's things in the pantry, and
like in Halfling world.
Just
I made a
Anyways,
pie.
It's a delicious
Uh,
tentacle
no.
pie.
There's
Happy
some
Friday
smoked
the
cheese.
oh yeah, great.
Boo!
Don't.
Spooky.
spooky.
What a wonderful night to have a TPK.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Way!
It's,
We're gonna get on there, and there's not actually gonna be anything that attacks us. But, yeah.
oh, you know what? And this is a spooky Halloween themed session. We're going into the zombie space wreck.
It is.
We're gonna go in there and just there's pumpkins and bats everywhere.
Happy Halloween!
And there's like in
Well.
the background, you just hear.
Sheep had this plan from day one.
Blah, 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 and then he runs away.
It didn't even pop into my mind that not only is it October, but Friday the 13th, so maybe it would have been a good date. Maybe I can come up with something for next week, though, although it's difficult to plan what happens when, in general. Like, I have no idea what
See the
you guys are
darkness
going to
that
do
threatens
today.
the world. It is a
Oh my
giant
God.
pumpkin man. Oh no!
The sun has turned into a pumpkin, Zelda style, and it's just plummeting into us. must travel in
let's
time.
see.
The Skittermander homeworld too.
I think it's time to get started. Who would like to do a quick recap? I think Halldamir should, because he basically already did one.
There
I
we go.
basically already did one. Okay, so previously on Starfinder, we went to a Vesk pawn shop to go and retrieve some Starfinder medals, special tech medals. Yes, that pawn, not porn. So we got the items. It was beautiful conversation. I think we gave him a hammer. I'm not quite sure. And then then we asked about who procured them, and he was the very large Vesk was like, oh, it's some undead lady with her goons, and she asked for skulls, and we were like, oh, that's bloody weird. And I can't remember what caused us to go to this garden in one of the sub-levels where they use like corpses and stuff.
Shozakama did say that she asked where she could get those things, and he basically sent her there because that was the only place he could think of procuring skulls. It's not usually something you buy.
It's a bit weird. So we went after them, and it was eerily empty when we arrived. And after closer inspection, we found them in the fauna, digging around for skulls, finding other bones of many descriptions. So we promptly critted to hell and murdered them horrifically while looking badass at the same time. The Yosoki that run the place were very grateful and gave us all sorts of stuff. And we discovered that there was a ship, a bone ship that needed the skulls to run its bone drive. I'm not quite sure how it works, but apparently they needed bones and they were stuck in the drift. So we took all of this information back to our contact, and the contact was like, yeah, if you wanted to go continue this mission, because we're all scholars here and it's really not up our alley. You guys can go. You seem great at this. So he gave us a ship, and we sailed off into the void, graciously, and then we came across the Endless Threnody, and we duked it out. It was horrifying to begin with, and then we just flew loops around it. And ultimately disabled it, not completely destroying it. Though I don't think it's getting it anywhere anytime fast. And I think we're gonna board it now, even though it's releasing negative energy. Radiation. Which isn't great.
And it's filled with zombies.
And it's got no atmosphere.
Also,
or presumably gravity.
And the coordinates presumably contained within the ship's computer, however, are the only lead to the missing Starfinders.
Oh yes, there was missing Starfinders. Forgot about that. There's so much we did.
So, you can see the Endless Threnody drifting outside, bristling with bone spurs, the big red lens at its front, looking like a swollen eye, as the entire ship is occasionally covered in a slight purple, sort of like a mist shockwave combination. Nothing too massive, but certainly visible. Your own ship has also seen better days. 2 large gashes where the metal of the ship's hull looks as it had been popcorn that popped, basically, where you got hit by the Endless Threnady's massive laser twice. But it's still holding true. It probably will, unless you get shot some more.
That's not cool foreshadowing. I don't like that.
Well,
onwards, great adventurers. After you.
So, does this big other ship have like a docking bay, or like, are we spacewalking there?
Like, how will we even interface with this to get on board the vessel that we've just derelicted, effectively?
I feel like if there's a docking bay, they will expect, and probably set up some sort of doom thing there.
I say we go out of our airlock and we jump, and then and then we'll just go through, because there's no like integrity to the hole. It's just like bones everywhere, so we could slip through gaps and get in that way.
I mean,
totally surprise them.
I guess our ship is so small and there's so many holes, we could literally just pull our ship right up next to those holes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just like jump out into the holes.
I don't
Be cool.
suppose that the lore seeker has like a boarding hooks, you know, like magnet, like magnet cables or something to hook onto.
Do our bones magnetic? Jonas?
Nope.
I mean, we want to make sure that they don't board our ship while we're out, you know?
Yeah.
And then leave.
So we want to be
Leave
kind
us in
of...
the...
I can stay back to guard the ship.
Maybe it's better that the Vesk, you know, honor it, you know.
I mean, in that case, it seems to me that a spacewalk is in order.
I think a spacewalk.
Yeah, but, like, is there an obvious... Where do we want to, like...
Through
we were looking
one of
for
the holes,
data,
I imagine.
So, which hole in the Hulk would be closer to where we want to go?
Well, fortunately, the Lawseeker, as most ships in fact, is equipped with sensors, which you could use to gain more information about the other ship, answering whatever questions you might have that the sensors can detect anyways.
Sure, I can scan things. Make it so. Ensign fuckstick.
Ensign fuckstick.
I mean, they won't know why we're here, right? So,
let's
as long as it's not obvious, like, where we're going through.
Did I have a bonus because of the ship's computers or not? I forget.
I mean, if you look at the ship...
To computers.
Sheet, you get a +2.
Okay. Well, ooh.
24. Is there anything specific you would like to know?
26 even, because I can't factor in the...
26 even. Is there anything specific you would like to scan for?
An area that isn't quite so radiated, but also accessible.
The most accessible and least radiated area would be at the very back, which looks to be some sort of cargo bay. While it doesn't have a docking port where you can attach your ship, it at least has a docking port with an actual door that you can presumably open.
Maybe
not have to squeeze through the bony structure of the ship's hull.
Maybe we asked this last time, but do they even have computers? Like, is there a computer core to extract info from?
You could give me an engineering or mysticism check.
USB stick be compatible with every like bone technology?
That's a 19.
He tries to be an engineer, and in fact, Talos knows surprisingly much about Eoxian chip design. Generally, that technology is weird, but it's still technology. It is sort of a hybrid between magic and technology. But it is intentionally compatible with most other technology. Otherwise, well, the Eoxians would be at a bit of a disadvantage in general. So, yes, usually if there's a computer terminal, you can probably access it. There might be some quirks to it, but it should work.
Okay. So with that previous scan, then, would it be possible to pinpoint the data core that we would need?
The information would most likely be on the ship's bridge, which appears to be behind its red glowing eye and laser cannon.
Literally, we hit it with all the weapons. Well,
and also literally the other end of the best place
yes.
to.
So it would be a crawl through the entire ship. How big is the ship exactly?
The ship is a medium-sized freighter. I'll have to take a look.
Are we talking
200
dudes
or 200,000 dudes?
No, it's not that huge. It is. Give me a second.
Oh, it's a medium-sized Corellian Star Destroyer. You know, so.
it's a good. It's about 300 feet long.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that isn't too bad.
Oh, that's easily shootable across.
The concern with it being there is that while it might be 300 feet along, we don't know what the corridors are going to look like. It might have this maddening labyrinth, fucking Eoxian bullshit necromancer design that's depressurized and has holes ripped out of it.
Well, I don't think it's
ever been
repressurized.
I
don't think it's ever been pressurized.
With Telos's engineering check about Eoxian ship designs, you would know that generally they are incredibly functional, with basically nothing that has that doesn't have a purpose. Like they don't have community areas or recreation rooms. They just have whatever they need, and exactly that. They wouldn't probably put a labyrinth on their ship just because.
Right, but the reason for why they would do that would be to confuse anyone unfamiliar with the Eoxian ship design trying to board their vessel.
Yeah.
Eoxian ships, also known as flying dungeons.
all of the labels for things are directions are flipped or inverted, or they're blatantly lying. So it's this way to the Eoxian coffins or whatever. It's actually the fucking Rancor.
The Eoxian ships are also known as the Death Flay Pits. Yes.
Not just any flay pits, the Death Flay Pits. Yeah. Not the living flay pits.
No, Death Flay Pits.
All right.
I mean, they are literally propelled by the screaming souls of the damned. So, I mean...
And with a 27, there would be one last piece of information that Telos could think of. Eoxian ships generally run with very few crew. They take the term skeleton crew literally in every sense.
How badass is in the Eoxian? I mean, Victor might even ask that. How bad?
Well, they generally say don't go to you.
What is it you want to ask? How bad are Eoxians?
Yeah, how tough are they? What's the word? Sort of generally, are we speaking
Well,
I don't know.
One, didn't we?
You could
would Victor feel like he could?
A what check?
Culture.
I'm expert
I can't do
at
that,
culture.
So.
Ask me anything about culture.
Go culture.
How badass is an Eoxian?
No, it's at 2. So.
Hey, the Eoxian.
Yeah, I mean the last one you fought wasn't that tough.
I mean, that's true.
No. It paralyzed you. That's how tough it was. Listen.
They bite. So I feel like...
Tessalus has probably heard how Eoxian culture generally works. Whether that applies to every ship is... What am I trying to say? Eoxian culture is basically... There's roughly 2 separations of strength. There's the ancient necromancers who have lived for hundreds of years with crazy magical powers and presumably physical ones as well.
Teslas can't help them.
Yeah, and then there's the newer recruit, which is probably what the woman you fought earlier was like. And below that, sort of, although not too far away from in terms of power, are the bound servants, basically. They are not as smart, they do their job, they don't do much else. They're not as intelligent.
Tassless knows enough about the Eoxians that their world is the world that he has not ever visited in the backworld system because there is no business for him there.
Mad gaze! Oh. Damn it!
Well,
the Eoxians do appreciate sport, but it's exclusively brutal blood sports.
But they don't have blood.
Exclusively.
They import blood.
Oh.
One of the biggest blood imports in the quadrants.
One of them has a big bag inside the rib cage.
Who's the biggest blood export to the Eoxians? Now there's just follow the money.
The skittermanders, sadly.
The best got to make something use of them, and they're very helpful.
They're very good.
Lisa.
So this is the antithesis of hype. Tashless is not even.
The antithesis of
hype. I mean, Victor looks at him like, is it going to be, are these things, these creatures, I haven't met one. They don't do what I do.
Tassel is like, well, Big Red, the last one we met paralyzed you.
He nods, rubs his neck a little bit.
And that was probably one of their new recruits. That was probably the most expendable person they had to spare from this ship.
I can see Victor's uncomfortable look.
Yeah.
But wouldn't they at least have sent someone that was sort of capable? You know, I mean, wouldn't want them to fail.
So, here's how pecking order works. Tesla goes up as high as he can go at the top. Ancient necromancers fueled by immense power and incredible gains that I can't even touch. He lowers his hand a bit further. Probably where the newbie was. He goes a bit further like that. Bound undead servants.
So, I mean, surely there wouldn't be an ancient necromancer in that thing, he sort of says, looking out the window at it.
Tesla looks at the window and says, well, if there were an ancient powerful necromancer, it certainly wouldn't have sacrificed its skull, nor would it have chosen to go out on some journey to Absalom Station. Because if it's a member of the corpse fleet, that's illegal.
Baker nods, well. She looks out at the ship again, swallows. Looking to Madar, he's much more experienced after all.
And as a matter of fact, any of the information I know about the Eoxians perhaps pales in comparison to the corpse fleet, which isn't a part of the Pact Worlds.
Thaddeus will shrug and then cock his rifle and say, well, we're here for a reason.
That's right.
It's not literature.
That's right, Big Ben Thad. I remember the last time you used that rifle in a narrow corridor.
Thaddeus winks.
And Tasselus blinks. That was a rare moment of insight for me.
He's gotten me at my own game.
All right,
so who
then.
wants to jump first?
Pilot sleeping in the captain's quarters. You're the one who's most experienced in spacefaring. By all means.
Thaddeus shrugs and walks up to the edge of the airlock. I guess, or to the airlock. I don't think we've opened it yet.
You are also fairly far away from the ship at this moment.
I guess he'll go to the pilot and fly closer.
Goes to look out the airlock. Goes to fly closer.
So?
I imagine he takes it's like he leans over, looks out the airlock window, it's like, we'll get closer. Goes over to the pilot's seat and moves.
Okay, on a scale from you'll probably miss and float among the stars forever to it's easy to cross over, how close would you like to get?
Ramming speed.
Expert! Pedal to the metal.
That's fucking... What a question, my God.
I think pretty damn easy for our first spacewalk boarding, right? Right, guys?
So you have to keep in mind that Big Red has never been off of...
All right. No,
I have no experience.
I've got a beautiful plan, guys. All right? I've got a 50-foot long cable that we can hook each other to. So if one of us fails...
We all screwed. We die together, we live together.
No, our weight should stop his momentum, or at least dampen it, so that we can possibly get onto the ship.
Might I ask, because, wait, okay, this ship is called the Lore Seeker. There has to be, cables and ropes and wires and lines and stuff we can use for this, because surely this, it has to,
It's not made for this.
It is made for picking up stuff,
really
right?
cheap toilet
It's
paper.
oh
Yeah,
no,
but I think it's
a
made for
mysterious
landing.
asteroid has come into orbit. Oh no, we need something with a tow cable to latch onto it. It's come on, a starship has to have
the
that.
Law Seeker does not have a grappling hook, but it does have plenty of supplies of basically everything an adventurer could hope for.
Right. When we come back to
Grappling
base,
hooks.
when we come back to
Well,
base,
not
we're
a
installing
ship-sized grappling
we're
hook.
installing like zip lines and stuff on this thing, so we can
We
like
need like a big metal harpoon thing we can
Yes.
shoot into. You know,
we're gonna get that. That's just gonna be. what
We'll
we're
work
gonna
on it.
space whaling harpoon.
Mhm.
We'll work
You
on
need to
it.
become
Don't
the
worry.
grappling hook seeker at this rate.
Grappling hook seeker.
I heard there was one, the Cephalius system.
What a novel concept for adventurers to want to grapple something. This is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is a
No,
brave
Almost
no,
like
world.
there's very advanced rules for it.
It's fine. Don't worry.
Ship grappling.
We'll just jump.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
so
Victor's going to take your lead on this. He's a little bit, sort of, a little excited. Trying
I-
something new, spacewalking. It's very.
You know,
So-
I want to be.
so you're
real
gonna like
close.
cozy this vessel up to like
Yeah.
we're going at the aft then, and then trying to traverse the entire length of this to the fore, where the bridge is, or presumably next to the big red eye that's
Well,
broken.
I think we stopped at its aft because we were tailing it,
Yeah.
shooting it. So
And,
we
and,
are.
and
Sure shouldn't get in
that's
front of
where
that big
we're
eye
going
thing.
to. We're going to park much closer, and we'll just have
Yeah.
to cover the entire distance.
Yeah, we're just gonna park real close, and then we'll just mosey on over.
Alright, if you would like to get closer, presumably close enough to not risk flailing off into space too much, you'll have to get pretty damn close. And unfortunately, there's two little problems that you as the pilot will have to be aware of. First
Okay.
of all, it is a very spiky ship.
Okay.
Getting close to the cargo bay will be a rather significant piece of piloting.
Could we blow up the spikes?
Can we use precision targeting to remove the bony protrusions?
Oh yeah, sure.
That was almost too easy, wasn't it? Like some
I am
greater
very
tragedy will
suspicious.
happen.
Very suspicious. Well,
Well, by all means, one of you gunners, if you want to try and
Well, we
remove
don't need
bony
the back
protrusions.
half of the ship anyway, so.
Well, that's you've got a fucking railgun up there if you want,
I can try railgunning
or
the
coil
spikes.
gun even.
Tell Victor to do it. I mean, he'll say, I'm not really a ranged sort of person, but I could shoot them, I think.
I believe in you.
Just given a little bit of time.
If anyone can do it, it'll be you. It'll be you.
It really would feel better if the captain commanded me to,
Can-
because
can
then I get a
you-
bonus.
Tassless literally has no commander for inspiring. He's trying to hype himself up right now.
can you take 20 on the attack roll to be like very carefully measuring this out?
Like,
No,
just
taking 20 basically means turning the gun to full auto and just shooting until it's gone. You will trigger the failure condition if one exists.
I'm just gonna shoot at this thing. So it's basically just an attack roll. Were there any additional bonuses for shooting ship guns? We
you.
had like a
you-
computer targeting
You
system. that
can
could help?
take a +1 from the computer, yes.
Yeah.
So it's basically just the same as me firing my laser pistol, but with a +1.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
also a stationary target at this point. It's not even trying to evade or maneuver in any fashion.
It's probably
Yeah,
real.
the AC is basically non-existent.
Yeah.
It's not so much a question of missing the ship, it's missing
Wow.
the exact spot you want to shoot at. Which Victor does not, in fact. Hitting one of the bony spikes, which would have made the approach, well, more difficult, as it breaks and shatters. Roll me some damage. How much it shatters?
I don't know. How much do we do? 46,
Yeah.
right?
44.
Okay.
There's a macro
Yes.
on the ship
Oh, yeah, there is.
as well. Remember.
The spike is destroyed. And the way forward is much easier now. It's still not quite trivial, you might still bump into the ship, but it's certainly not as difficult as before.
Sure. I believe in me, I think. Let me just check that. Because I get a +1. I can take a +1 to piloting as well from the ship. So that'd be nice.
You can, yes.
Let's see how this goes. 18 to 19.
18, no problem.
Yeah, well, it's 19, so I mean,
Even less of a problem.
even less of a problem.
Yeah, you can adjust your speed and match up the speeds, as stopping in space is physically impossible, but you can stop relative to the airship. You'd guess you're approximately like 10 meters away from the actual like cargo bay doors, which, while closed, do offer enough handholds to get there at least. Getting inside, the like gaps between the bones, it's not entirely impossible that you could squeeze through, but it might be difficult and might damage your suits even if you get hung up on the spiky bony bits.
Fuck damaging our suits. That's how one dies. Anyone got explosives?
I mean, the ship has everything adventurers might need.
It does not include explosives.
Aw. Not even mining charges?
Well, the concern would be that in the process of trying to blow this open, you blow apart the handholds that we use.
Well, you know.
Process.
How do a grenade work in space? Like,
Well,
Terribly. Let's not talk about it.
well, you mentioned grenades. We can find out together as a family. But
Well, I don't think we've got
I
it.
made a thing for it. I remember.
But I do not think the cargo door will much care for shock grenade or incendiary, especially the incendiary grenade in space. Probably not.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you know, like
someone chop it
we'll
apart?
have space crowbars, and so fucking made out of fucking space metal, fucking Big Red can get down there and fucking
What
pry
if we
open the
shut
fucking
the door
door.
open?
That might blow apart the handholds too.
I mean,
What do
as
you
with
think
most things, shooting is always an option, but probably not always the best option.
It's all Victor is good at.
You're good at hitting things as well.
Yeah, I can hit things. That's
You know.
about it.
I can act.
Can act.
Well, space wrestling. Yeah.
Space whistling?
I don't think that's going to help the door, though.
Silence?
Look, we
So-
surely
so-
got the fucking space version of the Jaws of Life.
What
recorded to try
would
and brace it,
involve sheep to get over there? Like an acrobatics check? Like what's the?
You're
No,
close enough
basically
that it's trivial.
It's getting through into the ship, getting through the gaps without tearing our suits apart.
Yes, and that would
Anyone know how
involve
to open
what?
space doors?
Acrobatics or.
That would involve acrobatics, yeah.
All right. Well, Telos will suit up and turn to us and say, "I will try to get around and perhaps open it from the inside."
Get it on your own? That's
He nods.
suicidal.
Yes. Well, the rest of you seems unsure that you would be able to dodge the spikes. I am fairly confident in my abilities. He sort of gauges the spikes, frowning. It should be fine.
Sure.
And even if it isn't, I can survive in vacuum.
Well, I guess.
Good point.
So long as no Yoxians are waiting on the other side.
He nods. Yes, a concern. I will try to be careful.
Yeah, he looks at you and says, I should come with you then. In case there are some, I'll be able to hold them back at least for a little time.
Telos
And
looks at
if
Victor.
I rip my spacesuit, at least you'll be there to, throw me back or something.
Nods. Are you sure?
He nods, says, well, I mean, if this is not a time to, be heroic, then I don't know why my manager even sent me here.
Telos smiles slightly and says, "All right then, we'll suit up, Victor. Let's go."
Well, I mean, I guess, his armor really is what he would use here, right? It also has
All of our
environmental
armors
seals.
are environmentally sealed, yeah.
Oh,
He has
oh,
a hidden soldier armor, so that's a fully covering armor, heavy armor with a helmet.
mhm.
But as you guys are about to leave, Thaddeus will show up with what looks like a toolkit, and we'll say, "Well, I suppose we can always find a way to reduce the damage on suits. Come on. Before I change my mind.
What? You're going to?
Yep.
Oh. Alright then, I guess we all will go and open the door
We're
from
not
the
all
outside.
going.
Yeah.
That is show that like lifts up his a engineering toolkit. Says, "Come on."
Then Tilos will try to get over without ripping his spacesuits.
Alright. Floating over is trivial enough. There's no check required, as the ship is parked very closely. You sort of float over, bump into the hull of the other ship. But as it turns out, its spiky construction does offer enough to hang on to, at least temporarily, until you get your balance back. And then you would like to find a spot to squeeze through, right?
Yes.
Alright. You can find one of these, although it does appear as if the cargo bay isn't actually designed to have holes in it, but it does seem like the entire ship has sustained rather significant damage. Probably not from you, in fact, as the sort of scorch marks seem a bit older, and have opened some holes into the cargo bay. Give me an acrobatics check as you try to gingerly press yourself through the opening.
Well,
I hear that's what Victor is best at.
I'm pretty
No
acrobatic.
problem whatsoever.
I'm
Wow.
pretty agile.
Not that acrobatic.
damn good.
Tilos will
Pretty
you
damn
know, you will see him sort of gingerly float between very gracefully, very still, like between the spikes, and scoot inside.
Yeah, and inside the cargo bay, in eerie, quiet rains, there is a occasional flickering of purple light, but nothing really else. The cargo bay mostly empty, and it does appear as if the artificial gravity is still working, as Talos, as he floats inside, gently touches down.
He will try to stay as silent and quiet as he can here, and sort of wave to the others that, like, looking around. Does he see anyone or anything?
Give me a perception check.
24.
24. It appears that there's at least no creature inside. In addition, it appears that the purple sparking light comes from something that looks like a computer console, looking, which appears to be located where the door to the cargo bay from the outside is.
Well, Tilos will. I don't know, we have. He has like a headset voice thing. I don't know. Everyone has that, I think, right?
Yes.
Built into armor.
Then he will report back to us that it seems the coast is clear, and he will try to go for the door. As he will try to go for the door.
Alright.
Can certainly go for the door. But the door seems thoroughly locked. There is, however, the computer terminal next to it.
Sure. He will try to use the computer terminal to open the door.
Give me your choice of a computer, engineering, or mysticism check.
Well, let me.
They're all slightly different in how they are used for this.
Sure. Let me check. We will do a computers. 15.
Did you roll? Oh, you disconnected.
He disconnected.
Great.
But 15.
15 apparently.
15 apparently.
Okay. With a 15. Talos isn't entirely sure how an Eoxian computer system works, but at least opening the door is easy enough. The door does unlock, starting to slide open, but as it does so, the purple spark from the computer lights up, and the door is stuck. Telos might be dazzled for a moment as the light was rather bright, but doesn't feel any other effects other than a slight chill in his spacesuit.
Would he think that this is now just done for? Like, would an engineering be able to like hotwire the door or bypass it in any way?
He would think that the door's unlocked, it just hasn't opened. It would have to be manually wrenched open.
Alright, well, then he will report back that the computer seems to be shut up, and there's no way to properly open the doors from inside. A spacewalk seems to be what's needed for most people, sadly.
The computer does have some flickerings of life still to it, but it's not great.
If I had like a space crowbar, could I move like from the outside to the door and like wrench it open if the lock's disengaged and it's just stuck?
You could probably do that, yeah.
Force it open. Do we have a space crowbar, anyone?
Adventurers, lore seeker.
Well,
The ship does have regular crowbars.
I think
No.
they'll do.
I suppose it'll do.
Yeah. If not, there's other ways.
Yeah. So I guess I'll take that and then go to the door. It should be easy enough.
Okay, give me a strength check.
Yeah. That is something I can do. My sadly mediocre strength bonus.
Oh yes, no problem. The door seems to have... It mostly seems as if the motor that was supposed to open it had died and not the actual door gotten stuck, so it's a fairly simple affair to just wrench it open. Of course it's a heavy door, but